So folks, this is the part of the program where we would like you to contribute. There's a couple ways we could go. There's a standing mic right here. Also, we have some portables, so maybe me and Eric, we could, if people raise their hand, we could run and help them that way. I do ask, so that we could be fair, please keep your comments to about a minute and a half if you can, so as many people as possible can participate.
Hi, my name is Doug. I first met Tak in September of 1972. I had just started working for the County of Los Angeles at the Registrar Recorder. And I remember the first day I met Tak, he came in, smiled, that big grin of his, and welcomed me, made me feel very welcome. I was just getting married at the time, and shortly after I got married, within a couple of years, I realized that I liked men. And this created some internal problems with me, obviously, and I knew Tak was gay, and so he was there a few times. So, in short, I think Tak was a wonderful person. I hadn't talked to him in 6 or 7 months before his death, and I just recently found out about it, which made me very sad. But Tak will always live on in my heart. Thank you.
But before I start, I want to, we have some members here from the Registrar of Voters. Darlene Bonds, the Assistant Registrar Recorder, County Clerk, the same level of Michael Petrocello. But Darlene Bonds also has the distinction of actually having been the acting Registrar Recorder, County Clerk. So that's Ms. Bonds there. Well, you know I'm sleeping tonight, baby. I want to say these things. I was coming from Santa Monica Thursday after being forced to go to the doctor by Lorraine and my granddaughter. And I just kept on out the 10 freeway. And I got off on Central. Some of you can follow me because you know where I went. And in that area, I remembered the Newton Division Police Station, Coca-Cola, Fire Station 11, 20, had all the black firemen at that station, and Lafayette Junior High School. Well, during that time, Lafayette Junior High School, you had whites, blacks, Latins, and Japanese there. See? And some people went to Jeff, and the other people went to Poly, which later became Trade Tech. And I was just thinking about, I don't know what made me keep driving that way, because everything has changed. Because my first Japanese food that I ate was not in Little Tokyo, it was on San Pedro. Because you had a lot of restaurants there back 50s and 60s. But in 1973, when I met Tak, well, to me, gay, you know, you were the man, so that didn't mean anything, okay? But I got one of the worst assignments I ever got in my whole county career in 1975. I called myself the spook who sat by the door because I was given an assignment with nothing to do. And the only person that always came to my office and sat with me was Tak. And in order to keep all the other ones out, I would have a bunch of black books. They walk by and look at my books, and they keep on by me. Tak come in and sit down. I said, "Come on here, brother." And I say, "Tak," and this is the point that I'm getting to. I said, all these people here are only picking our brains. They don't know what they're doing. They're picking our brains to get promotions. And I don't like that. And Tak said, he said, "Wendell, that may be true. But they'll remember whose brain they picked. They're not going to promote you or me. They're going to promote them." But then this is what Tak said. "I am not defined by this job here. I am not defined by this job here. I have so many other things on my plate to do. I just come to work and do whatever I have to do here. And when I leave here, I have so many other things to do. And that taught me this. From that point on, the job is just a job. It's the other things that you also do in life. Now, I can tell you how much he excelled on that job, but the thing that taught me the most was other involvements that you have in this world and not just your job.
Thank you so much.
A lot of viewers know that I have a daughter who we found out was gay in 1988. That was 25 years ago. 25 years ago, back in the dark ages. Wife and I were wallowing in the deep sea sexual orientation at that time. We had not known of any gay person, and were consumed by fear and desperation and Asian shame. Little did I know that Tak lived about 5 miles away from us. 5 short miles. And imagine what he would have said if he had come to our house to give us support and consolation. I think he would have said, "What's the big deal?" 25 years ago, he would have said that. And 5 days ago, we essentially heard President Obama say, "What's the big deal?"
When I thought about Tak, Dean asked me to speak, and I know that Dean is not feeling well tonight, so I had a little time to think and reflect on Tak. And there are three attributes that come to mind. Tak is tenacious, and I don't necessarily mean this in a stubborn way, although that's true too. But it's that patient persistence that defined everything that he did. You know, we have heard about Manzanar, we have heard about APLG, we have heard at JACL. I remember a number of years ago, he called me one night and asked me for some information on marriage equality, and that was the time when it was the Hawaii case. And he said, "I am working so that JACL, I'm going to a national meeting and to have JACL support marriage equality." And JACL in 1984 was the second non-gay national organization that came out in support of marriage equality after ACLU. And Tak was really behind it. Tak was also always affirming, and I was one of the benefactors of his affirmation and validation all the time. When APLG was organizing, I just came to town from the Midwest, and at the organizing meeting, he was going to be the president, and I think he said to me, he said, you can be the vice chair. And I said, "Not really. I don't know anybody. I'm a new kid on the block." He said, "You can do it." And that was how I began in Los Angeles. That's how the friendship began with a number of people here. So I'm always grateful. And also, the third thing is that despite all these, the barking and so on and so forth, he is really kind underneath. And I was always amazed at the kind of things that he would do for everybody, including me. Eric, you had bologna sandwich. I think I had a number of them at all these meetings. And so when I think of Tak and his infectious smile and his infectious laugh, his big heart, and so for me, TAK, tenacity, affirming, and kind. That's Tak.
And to my he and I went on many cruises, but I have to tell you a few things that happened. There was one cruise, well, we shared the same closet, so I was looking for brown trousers of mine, and I couldn't find it. And I said, Tak, do you know what happened to my brown trousers? He said, oh, it was your pants. He said, I wore it, but you know, I looked down and I thought, gee, I altered my pants too short. And I figured, God, at least he got into it, you know. But then there was another, our last cruise, and at the last port, it was Carlos San Lucas. We got off the ship, and we were walking towards the town, but he was lagging in the back, and I said, Tad, come on, let's hurry up, or we'll never get where we're supposed to be. And then I thought, you know, something is just not right. So I turned around and asked him, you know, are you okay? You want to go back to the ship? And he said, yes. So we were walking towards the ship, and he collapsed. And then, fortunately, there was security, so they took him into the ship to the doctor. But the doctor said, I'm sorry, but we can't do anything for you on the ship. So he said, we'll have to get you out onto one of the Mexican hospitals. So they gave me 1 hour to get his things together, pack his bag, and my bag. And we got off the ship, and we went to one of the hospitals. There, 3 doctors attended him. And he stayed, they said, well, you probably will be here for 2 nights. But it was Friday evening that he stayed, and the next morning he was feeling a lot better. And he insisted that he return to LA. So he told me, Roy, we're gonna go back. So quickly I had to go find a travel agent and try to get tickets to get back to LA. Well, we did get back to LA. But you know, ever since that trip, I feel Tak's health was never the same. It was very hard for him, but he made it through. And I would like to read a poem in dedication to Tak. It's called A Better Place. There's a place I've never seen, beyond this world we know. A place I've only heard of, but someday hope to go. It's not on any map, there are no roads to take me there. But it's a place of perfect peace, where hearts are free from care. And though I understand some may be saddened when I leave, one day we all will meet again. That's what I believe. Tak attended the San Fernando Buddhist temple. Today I feel Tak is with the compassionate Buddha in his light and in his love. And so for Tak, I would like to say, Ingasho Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you.
Hi, my name is David Hong, and I just wanted to say a little thing about Tak. When I first met Tak, it was when I first moved to LA in May of '81. And I just moved from other different cities that I was more or less like a community student activist, and I was looking for an outlet here in LA. So the first thing that I was able to find was the mainstream gay community, which was the LA Pride Festival, the Christopher Street West. So I volunteered on their board, helping out with their program of the parade itself. And my responsibility and role was to make all these signs, in addition to being the line guard for all the parade participants that were to be queued up for the parade on Crescent Heights in West Hollywood at the time. And that's when I met APLG, and the persons that I met primarily from APLG was actually Roy Kawasaki, along with Tak Yamamoto, and they're the ones that pretty much introduced me to APLG. And of course, this was in June of 1981. The following month in July, that's where they had invited me to attend their picnic that was has always been held at Griffith Park for that second year, and still has been a tradition up to this date. And that's where I met a lot of people from APLG, and pretty much Tak and Roy got me involved with APLG. I eventually became their delegate at large. I consider them my mentor because they pretty much walked me through the ropes of the API community in the gay and lesbian arena. And from then on, I became more involved with the group. I eventually became a publications editor because that's when Tak talked me into it, because he had been doing it for a number of years and I guess got tired of it. So it was time for him to pass it around on to me. But in my time span with Tak, I really enjoy being around him, all the words of wisdom that he always had to say and to share. And as you know, his personality is just the highlight of any organization itself, and as an individual too. So he'd be my mentor. I'm at a loss to see him go. I know for the last time I did see him was a few years ago, attending another funeral services, of course. And I had been saving a lot of things for him to give him because of his involvement with Manzanar. So I did eventually bring the 3 books that I had meant to give him in the past year, which I had not been able to, but I understand Bruce Emery now overheads the Manzanar Committee, so I'll give it to him. Yay. Anyway, thank you.
Hi, my name is Ang Teo. Tonight when we're talking about Tak, then I remember that the first time I met Tak, when Congresswoman Judy Chu, when she tried to run for Garvey School District, and at the time I was working at Garvey School District, so some of them dragged me to be volunteer. Then I was there, and during the evening, that they have different MC to help Judy Chu. Then there is a lady by the name is Gay Wang will come up to the mic, and all of a sudden I hear a real loud voice laughing and clapping. I love that person then. Gay Wang, I like that, and I look at that and I say, boy, who is that person? At that time, I still struggling, corseting, I don't know which way I turn, but I look at him and say, that person must be gay. Because he was laughing so loud when he heard the name Gay Wang. So about a year later, someone introduced me to APLG, and I walked into the first meeting, there's Tak. So, and after that, I become an APLG member, so now I'm out. And also, through my partner, Fred, I heard a lot about Tak. There is the Christmas orphanage party. Okay, so that's all about Tak. So that's what I want to share to everybody. That's one of my first impressions with Tak.
Everyone, my name is Noel. In 1993, when I was 25 years old, I started work for an organization called APAIT, or Asian Pacific AIDS Intervention Team at the time. And one of my first duties was to throw a fundraiser for this organization, and it was at a club called Circus. And it was a really big to-do. And I show up at this party, and there was this old guy there with this flower t-shirt and shorts. And I was like, who is this person? With the swanky dance thing, and it was Tak. It was just, it was Tak there. And fast forward 20 years, and I'm still with APIT, now APIT Health Center, and I want to tell you a little bit about our day. Today, there was a meeting in that building of API Quality Los Angeles, where gay men and women and lesbians were figuring out what to do for the gay, Asian, and lesbian community. And then another part of that building was a support group for gay, Asian, HIV positive men. And another part of that building was another support group for young gay Asian men. And in the back of that place was a transgender woman working on her program for transgenders in Los Angeles. And I think he would have been proud of that scene today. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who helped our lives become a lot better. And thank you very much.
came here in '79. In 1980, APLG was formed with TAC. I was at the second meeting, and a couple of years later, TAC had gotten to know me and invited me to the Manzanar pilgrimage. And I went up in '82 and was overwhelmed. And I've been going ever since. I'm on the Manzanar Committee. I haven't been on the Manzanar Committee for all those years, but most of them. I was even the treasurer. I said, "You're the treasurer? You're not Japanese." They didn't seem to mind. Just a little aside, I counted the people that I know that have been members of APLG. It's not called APGF. There are at least 15 of us here, which I'm delighted with, and I'm very surprised. Thank you.
Give a sincere thanks to the organizations that donated for our snacks and our nibbles. The APAIT Health Center, Manzanar Committee, Japanese American Citizens League San Fernando Valley, the Gay Asian Pacific Support Network. Let's give them a hand. Thank you very much for your kindness and your kindness. Also, I would like to acknowledge the organizers of this event, everyone that did the emails and the meetings you know, put it together. Stand up, stand up. Everyone who were organizing the committee. Come on. They're all behind the food. Thank you to everybody for putting on this event tonight. Hang on one second.
I'd like to thank everybody very, very much for coming here, because it shows just how much you really thought of him and how much you loved him. We all miss him dearly, but we'll just have to remember him in memory. But if you're listening in talking, this is how much people loved you.